All right, part two of Talking Hoops, and we're talking Westview basketball. We're talking Class 2A North. Chandler Prible joins me along with Austin Schlabach, and quite a win for you guys the other day. I think one of the best games of the day, really going into it, was your game with Gary 21st Century, and definitely turned out to be that way, 63-59. And Chandler, just to ask you, I mean, I've seen Gary 21st play a couple times this year. I know what kind of personnel they have. What did you guys feel like you had to do in that game, and what were you able to do to ultimately get the win there?
We thought rebounding was going to be big, and honestly, we struggled with that a lot right off the bat. I think in the first quarter they out rebounded us like 8-1, but then offensively, just limiting turnovers. We felt a little bit better this year around going against their guards, just because Austin here happens to be pretty good himself, so he was a little bit better matchup than what we're typically used to having against some of their guards. But then we knew we also had to guard the post well. They don't throw it in there a ton, but they've got 6'8" and 6'11" that we thought could cause some problems, and they did at different stretches in that game.
And Austin averaging 19.3 points a game, and it numbered across the board really good. And Chandler, we traded a couple messages this week about just about his numbers, and I think he's got potential to be a junior all-star, but and I'll have you speak on this first, Chandler. Just what, is that the best game he's played so far as a high school player, considering the stakes and everything you were playing for Saturday?
Yeah, I think whenever you look into like who we were playing against, how good they were, and and the fact that it was the biggest moment he's been in so far in his career. Yeah, I think it was his best game. But also a lot of the things that he did in that game, he's been doing all year long, and even maybe the past couple of years. He's able to do that night in and night out. He's pretty consistent.
Yeah, also 5.1 rebounds on the season and 5.4 assists, which that's that's a very impressive number as well. But Austin, kind of describe the the mood for you guys going into that game, and then what were you able to do specifically to kind of get going and score 33 points in that game?
Obviously everybody was pretty nervous. We had to get excited before the game, kind of psych ourselves out. And going into the game, it was basically just not forcing shots and hitting my open teammates. And we weren't really hitting too many threes. We had probably our worst shooting night there the whole season. So kind of had to create stuff for myself a little bit. And then at the end, we started hitting more threes.
And this is a team. Obviously one guy can't get it done all alone. Caden Grau is pretty close to you in scoring average this year, and I know he can really normally knock it down from the 3-point line. But what's your relationship like with him, Austin, and how important has he been to your success this year too?
I feel like our relationship's really good. We're good friends outside of basketball. We hang out a lot. On the court, though, he's like shooting around 50% 50 plus. So that really helps the team. It kind of helps not just me, but the whole team. Kind of opens everything up.
Yeah, he's at 18.6 points, and 52% from the 3-point line, which is pretty ridiculous. That's what guys shoot from the free throw line sometimes. So that's excellent. Chandler, wanted to ask you too. You come to Westview. This is your fourth year there, right?
Yeah.
And you'd been in Southern Indiana for a while there at Eastern Pekin, and I know you're from closer up there, but getting the job there at Westview, I had a chance a few years ago to go to a game and rode the bus with the team, and spent some time around the program at that time. And it is a very unique place. It's a very cool environment. It's small town Indiana basketball, but what did you know about Westview coming into it, and what's your experience been like there so far?
Well, I actually, so my father-in-law is John Bodie, who was at Central Noble with Connor Season and that group. So I coached under him for 1 year before I went to Southern Indiana. So I've been around it. I got to sit on the opposing bench when the Whistler was doing his thing, and honestly, at the time, I thought it was awesome, even as an opposing coach. So I was excited to get back into the area. We had just, when we were in Southern Indiana, we had just had our first child, and my wife wanted to get up closer to family. So that's really what the move was. And at the time, I I didn't know if it was a great move. I knew the tradition was here, but they had just had a tough year, and our team at Eastern was going to be really good again the next year. So I left a 6'10" center, Jacob Cherry, down there to come up here and probably never coach anybody over 6'5" again. We don't typically grow them real tall around here, but the community, the history, the tradition, the amount of care that we have here in the community is pretty special. I think I've got one of the best coaching jobs in the state.
Yeah, and when John was coaching at Central Noble, I went up there, and I think it was Connor's senior year, Connor Sejan, and it was before they made it to the state finals, and went up and did a story. And I remember him talking about you at that point, and that you'd coached with him, and the relationship there. But have you been? Is he helping you out now, or what's he able to do for you now?
Yeah, he's not on staff, but we get to talk basketball all the time, and just hearing his opinion and all that is helpful. He did it at a high level when he was coaching, and got to the state finals. So can lean on him for different things like that, and it's always good.
Austin, kind of same question for you. I mean, I'm sure you grew up around the program and know what basketball is all about there. But what's your experience been like? And how much was playing for Westview something you wanted to do?
I honestly didn't really have any connection or anything like that with basketball until I was like 7th grade is when I really started watching high school basketball. I wasn't originally going on to high school, but I decided to, and I feel like it's been a great decision.
And how much have you seen him, Chandler, improve? I mean, because of that, obviously he gets a late start, but he's making up some ground somewhere along the way. So very good player.
Yeah, I mean, I in the summer have taught summer PE here, a couple of years, and we'll do that from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we do that after our basketball workouts. And at 2 p.m. when I'm ready to go, I got to kick him out of the gym. So I mean, he literally spends his whole day here in the summer, gets a couple of workouts in, he'll get a lift in the weight room, packs a lunch, brings different clothes. I mean, he spends his entire day here, and it's noticeable. Not just in the fact that, like his athleticism has increased, but also being able to go from, maybe a low 30% 3-point shooter to now 41, 42%, hitting 2 big threes in the game on Saturday. Those are things that don't just change because you got older. Those are things that change because you put in a lot of time in the gym. And that's just a credit to his work ethic.
Where does that come from, Austin? What's is that just kind of how you are, or where did that? You obviously picked up your love of basketball along the way here somewhere.
I think it was from my dad. He's a pretty competitive person, and I feel like I've just been really competitive my whole life.
And what, Chandler, are you looking at your matchup? You play Lapel on Saturday, the noon game at Muncie Fieldhouse there. And Lapel, a team kind of riding a really hot streak right now. They have since the Oak Hill loss at the end of January, they haven't lost since then. So playing a very confident team. I'm sure you guys are too. But what stands out to you as you prepare for Lapel?
I think there's a lot of similarities between them and us. They're more of a guard-oriented team. Everybody can make a three. They can all attack the basket, and they're aggressive. They're out in passing lanes. They get out in transition. So I think we're going to have to show up and play our best basketball. I think the exciting part about our semi-state is that it kind of looks like any of the 4 teams can win it. It doesn't look like one of them is just head and shoulders above the rest. So it's kind of up for grabs, I think.
When you prepare for for that, I'm guessing you're all looking at all 4 teams. You're looking at the 3 potential opponents, but you have to hone in on this first one. How difficult is that to kind of, you could be playing your biggest game of your career on Saturday night, and you don't get a whole lot of time to prepare for that game?
Yeah, I mean, we hit film pretty hard on Lapel the last couple of days, and after we do that, we're able to kind of get our scouting report together, and the guys will only hear about Lapel. And if we're fortunate enough to get through that one, we will have, that's what I'm doing the rest of this week is focusing on the other 2 teams. That way we'll have a good scouting report for them. And our guys, I think, will be able to adjust pretty quickly. Really every team probably will be able to adjust pretty quickly to hearing a scouting report and maybe going through a walkthrough and being able to go apply it in a game. This will be game 27 if we get to that Saturday night game. So I think our guys will be able to take in that information. Teams at this level have pretty high IQs, I would think, and so I think they'll be able to adjust and handle that new information pretty quickly.
Austin, where do you feel like I saw you guys play a little bit in the Charlie Hughes this summer, but where do you feel like you guys have improved the most, from the start of the season or even from the summer to where you are now in March?
Definitely our defensive intensity, and just the little things like covering baseline and getting in our gaps. And also our shooting has improved a lot from the summer too.
Are you a guy that's have you kind of stepped into that leadership role? Is that comfortable for you to do that?
A little bit, yeah. This year is when it started. It was pretty hard in the beginning, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit more used to it and trying to be a better leader every day.
And Chandler, just from from a standpoint of this week, what's the community like right now? Are you guys? I don't know. Some schools are on spring break, so that makes it even a little bit weirder. But what's it been like for you getting ready for this big game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of involvement. Community members reaching out, wanting to help with different things, and just saying a congratulations. And honestly, I feel like I was able to talk to most of the people Saturday night. It felt like we filled up 3/4 of North Judson's gym, so we travel really well. And I know in the semi-state, I think a lot of the other teams that'll be there also travel really well. So should be a really cool environment there Saturday.
Yeah, I love that they're using Muncie Fieldhouse again. That's a really cool. I had a chance to cover some games there over the years, and then last year in the sectional final was Mount Vernon Greenfield Central was a great game. So very cool venue, and that'll be a great atmosphere on Saturday, I'm sure. But guys, really appreciate you joining me here, and best of luck to you. Thanks a lot, Chandler and Austin.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You bet. Well, next up from Liberty Christian, we have Norman Anderson, and Liberty Christian off to a great start to the season this year. I watched him play early in the season against Christmas Addicts, and very impressive performance. They play a schedule that is always top-notch against the top team, 3A, 4A teams. They take on about anybody, and now they have to make the trip, the long trip down to the Hatchet House, probably the longest trip of anybody has to make this weekend, but I know you're happy to be playing. You probably don't want to drive that far, but it's good you're driving to a place where you're playing basketball, right, Coach?
That is, and I would tell my guys all week, you never take these moments for granted. And no matter how far we have to travel, I told them yesterday after practice, I said, get on John Harrell website, and you got over 400 high schools, and look how many, are not highlighted, So it's just a blessing to be here and to be able to play another day.
Well, talk about your team, if you a little bit about who you have on this year's team. Like I said, I watched you play Addicts. Very impressive performance. Honestly, Coach, I was there that night. I was going to write about Chris Hawkins breaking the record for Ray Crow, and I knew there was a possibility. You never know who's going to win or lose. I knew it was a tough game, but it turns out I had to do that a different night because you guys really took it to him that night, and Chris is a great coach too, and I know you guys know each other well. But you guys, I was very impressed. Kendrick Martin had a great game that night, but who are some of the guys you've been relying on this year?
Well, I've been relying on my entire team. I think in my tenure here, these 4 years, I think this is the deepest team we've had. 1 through 12. And I think that's been the advantage that we've had, over a lot of people throughout the course of the season. But one big addition that that I would highlight is Monte Dillard, 6'7" forward out of Evanston, Illinois. His dad ended up taking over the Church of God job here in Anderson. And so they moved here midsummer. He's been a great addition. Just our seniors, Jordan Harrelson, Jelani Dixon, Elijah Dixon. And then we have another junior in Tywayne Fuller, who was a part of, that first year we went to semi-state, second year semi-state. Now this is their third crack at it. So just a test to them guys. And then just our sophomore class. We have a loaded sophomore class. Marcus Boyd, Demarion Kelly, Jamarion Larry, and we got a freshman, we got a stellar freshman in Kamarius Allen. So it's just been a pleasure, just to be able to play 10 or 12 guys. Now that kind of gets you in, like who do I play, and it makes practices competitive. But I love it. I love it. It's a good problem to have.
Well, how about your scheduling philosophy? Because you go through the I mentioned the Addicts game, but you also play, you play Anderson, you play Brownsburg, you play Sheridan, which is a really good team this year. I think that was in their tournament that you played them, but Lapel, who's still playing, you beat them earlier in this year, and they're still playing in Class 2A. So you play a schedule, Lawrence Central, Cathedral. You go down the list and you take on about anybody. Where does that come from, or why do you go about it that way?
So if you go back and you look at it, this year we played 5 teams who won or was in regionals. So I have kids that has aspirations of being student athletes in college, and especially being here at a smaller school, the biggest thing is to make sure they see that competition. And when I retire from coaching the game of basketball, my record doesn't matter to me. It's about the impact that I made on these kids' lives, and really giving these kids an opportunity to play against some of the top teams and the top kids of the state. And I think it helps us out through the duration of the year.
And you have this semi-state draw. You have these 4 teams, all very good. It's kind of fun to look at, the 4 different teams that are, and Bar Reeve is, basically they don't have a long drive at all. I mean, they're basically next door to the Hatchet House, and so is Bloomfield. I mean, they're right there as well. But man, these teams are all really good. I think that's kind of the fun part of it. I think the South, you could argue, is definitely stronger than the North this year in 1A, and who knows how it plays out exactly, but it does look that way on paper. But I guess, Coach, what do you see out of Bar Reeve? I know you're into your preparation now and getting ready for this team, and they're also a team that's going to bring a lot back next year. But what do you see out of this Bar Reeve team? What are you concerned about on Saturday?
Well, first of all, I love it. I love it. That South semi-state is loaded. Honestly, I think we probably have one of the best semi-states in the state of Indiana this year. But it's loaded. You got tons of talent, from all 4 teams. And just the Bar Reeve, I think been watching film, spending a lot of time on those guys. They play well together. They move the ball. They play hard. They execute. So I think that's, what you expect. But then, it's just a thing of, as well as, us being able to make our schedule diverse. So we're playing against all different type of styles, so we're looking forward to it. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy in there. I'm excited. The boys are excited, and we're just glad that we get another opportunity. But, Bar Reeve would be a great game, great match for us.
Do they remind you of anybody you played so far this season? Is there any comparisons to anybody that's been on your schedule?
I would say style of play, Eastern Hancock, maybe Lapel, Sheridan, Benton Central, that type of style of basketball. Those are the teams I would probably compare them to.
And I know they'll bring a lot of people, but having seen you guys over the years too, I know you're a smaller school, but you get a lot of support at your games. I mean, you constantly, seems like you bring a lot of people to road games. The Addicts game I know was on the road. You had, I think that was a weeknight even. You had quite a few fans there. But where does that come from? What leads to that?
City of Anderson. The city of Anderson eats, sleeps, and love basketball. So it's just a lot of these kids are community kids, a lot of family members connected. It's just the city of Anderson overall. I mean, it's a basketball city, and people love it. And when their teams are doing good, they support.
And I wanted to ask you, I know you're in Anderson. You played in Anderson. You played at the famed Wigwam back in the day, kind of the later stages of the Wigwam. Unfortunately, it it wasn't used too much longer after you played. But what is your background? Your background playing, and how did you decide to get into coaching? What kind of led to you going down that route?
Well, first, I just look at coaching just as a ministry. I've always enjoyed and loved basketball. I mean, I used to eat, sleep, and breathe it. My mom used to tell me as a kid, like, I'm tired of seeing the basketball, And it's just something too, like I've always wanted to give back, to my community. And so I had a coach who believed in me, I come from a rougher background, and I had a coach who believed in me, and he's the reason, I give him a lot of credit for the success that, I've had, just graduating high school, being the first in my family to graduate college. So I've always wanted to come back to Anderson, just give those same opportunities to my guys.
And you had Ron Heklinski was your coach there, right? At that time?
Yes, the great Ron Heck was my coach. Actually, so I went to Anderson High School, graduated from there. I went to Wabash Valley. Toby Madison was my coach. Toby actually is a Bar Reeve guy. He graduated from South Alabama, played there. And so he and I have been talking a lot. Somebody's going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum come about 11:30, 12 o'clock on Saturday. So, I had roots there, and from there I transferred and I went to the University of Southern Indiana.
And you had a chance to be at Liberty Christian before you were the head coach, and they'd been building for a little while, but even before that, and won a state title. What year was that now, Norman? Was
2016.
2016, that's right. And time gets away from me. I've been doing this for too long. I kind of forget years and when things happen. But that was kind of a surprise a little bit at that time that they ended up winning a state title, and then you end up taking the program over. But did you feel like it was on a pretty good level when you took over?
I did, and kudos to Coach Jason Chappell and Mike Carey. Those guys done a great job with this program and building the program. And actually, it's kind of funny because the first year, I'm telling my age here, the first year Liberty went IH-A, I was at Anderson, 2005, and that was the first time they had to play in the Wigwam. And I think we beat them by like 63 points or something like that. It was 70, actually. It was 73 points, and it was rough, but just to see how far Coach Chappell have, grown his program. And then in 2021, when I joined the staff, it was the first year that Liberty Christian ever beat Anderson. So I always tell him, like, kudos to me for that. So, but, it's just these guys have really done a really good job with the program. And, I appreciate them trusting in me and taking over and kind of leading the way now.
What are those Anderson games like? For Liberty Christian, that's cool that Anderson agrees to play. That doesn't always happen, when you got the bigger school. But that's I'm sure a huge game for you guys every year.
It is. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so you got a lot of friends and family, and everybody's home. It's a big deal, with losing Highland High School and losing Madison High. It's like the game, the rivalry now is Liberty Christian and Anderson. So, I mean, the game's packed out. We sell out every year, and it's just a great atmosphere to get the season started off for our kids.
I always get that question, too, like, when are they going to go back to the Wigwam, or what's going on with the Wigwam? What is going on with the Wigwam? Is there a chance games can be played there again?
So as of about 2 weeks ago, there was a News Press article that released that said that they're going to start working on it here shortly. I've heard that quite a few times, but let's see what happens. It'd be great for these kids. And I think it would be more so of like they're leasing it out almost. So it'd be great just for our kids just to go in there and play. I mean, I remember those nights of coming out and, you just never take those moments for granted of being able to play in the greatest high school gym in the country.
Oh, yeah, it is a phenomenal, awesome place. And we have a lot of great places. You'll be at one on Saturday. I mean, the Hatchet House is a treasure as well, but that would be great if the Wigwam could get going again. Even like you said, if it's a chance to just rent it out and have some basketball high school games there, that would be fantastic. Norman, what's this week like for your guys? How do you what's the week look like? How do you kind of prepare? What's is it a normal type of week for you, or what do you have the guys doing?
So we're actually on spring break this week. So we've just been watching a lot of film, practicing, a lot of mental, just studying, mental practice, just for that atmosphere. It's going to be loud in here on Saturday, and just getting our guys prepared and focused, because the game is played mentally. And so we've been doing a lot of preparation there, and just been getting after it.
Well, that's great. Well, again, Liberty Christian plays at 10 a.m. the early games. Do you go down there on Friday night then, Norman, or what's your schedule for that?
We're going to go down Friday night, and then we practice at Washington at like 4 p.m. and then we'll stay overnight, and we'll get ready to head over to back to the Hatchet House Saturday morning.
I would say that'd be an early trip to do it all on Saturday, so that's probably good. I'm sure Bar Reeve gets to sleep in their own beds, but good you guys get down there on Friday. But appreciate you doing this, and best of luck again. Liberty Christian, 10 a.m. and the other game too is going to be Hauser and Bloomfield. That game is at noon, and those should be great games too. The winners of those games then play at 8 p.m. With the state finals berth on the line. So a lot to play for at the Hatchet House, and yeah, it's hard to. I think if you want to watch two great games and you have no rooting interest, that would be a great place to go catch some basketball on Saturday.
It will. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. It's my first time in Hatchet House, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Norman. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Kyle.
Well, hello there, everybody. Just wanted to, this doesn't really fit with the semi-state preview, but wanted to share this at any rate because it is a big tournament every year. Or the last few years that's come to Indianapolis, the Chipotle Nationals is coming back to Hamilton Southeastern April 1st through the 4th, and it's tying in with the Final Four. So should be a really interesting event. Again, if you like basketball, this a pretty fun experience to watch some of these top teams and players in the country. It's televised on ESPN. The boys championship game is. The girls also will be playing here. So it's a 4-day tournament starting. It's a Wednesday, April 1st, and running through that Saturday of April 4th. So some of the teams that will be here, and this was just released today, and you will have some of the top boys teams, Montverde Academy, Prolific Prep out of Florida. You'll have on the boys side, St. Paul, the 6th, Bella Vista out of CIA, Bella Vista out of Arizona, Compass Prep out of Arizona, Dynamic Prep out of Texas, and a few others as well. The girls, Bishop Gorman out of Nevada, DME Academy out of Florida. Long Island Lutheran is always a really strong girls program. And some of the players who will be playing in this out of Bella Vista, you have Miles Sadler from West Virginia, Vaughn Carvalho, who's going to Indiana. You have the number 3 junior in the country also on that Bella Vista team, Arizona Prep, Caden House, who's going to Maryland, Kalick House, who's going to Xavier, and several other players on that team that are uncommitted. Lincoln Cosby, who's going to Michigan, plays for Montverde. Joe Filan also is uncommitted. Jalen Hodge, who's going to Northwestern. Out of Aspire Academy, several players who are highly ranked and committed to Power 5 programs. Prolific Prep, one of the top players in the country, Caleb Holt, who's going to Arizona, is on that team. Bruce Branch, who's going to BYU. Davion Adkins, who's going to Kansas, and they have a junior who's number 6 in the country, Nasir Anderson as well. Dynamic Prep, Austin Gooseby going to Texas, Dakari Spear going to Texas Tech. And then the number 1 junior in the country, Marcus Spears, is on that Dynamic Prep team as well. So he will certainly be fun to watch. And several other. Jordan Smith plays for that St. Paul, the 6th team, St. Paul Catholic out of Virginia. He's going to Arkansas, ranked number 2 in the country. So a very talented group. Link Academy out of Missouri, out of that Branson area there. They have a lot of talented players. I think 6 or 7. I think 6 top 100 players in the 26 class and a top 25 player in the junior class. So they're absolutely loaded. Adonis Ratliff, who's going to USC, plays on the Archbishop Stepanak team out of New York. He's also on that team. So, and then on the girls' side, you have St. James Academy out of Virginia. They have some top players. Jordan Jackson, who's going to Maryland, is in that group. Out of Westtown, Pennsylvania, they have an Ohio State commit on their team. They have a number 6 junior in the country, Jordan Palmer. And so a lot of talent there. Long Island Lutheran, Olivia Jones, who's going to Vanderbilt, is their top player, top prospect. Man, they have Kentucky. They have 2 Kentuckys, a Duke. And then Gigi Battle, who's going to Indiana, also from DME Academy out of Florida. She is playing in that event as well. So you have a couple Indiana commits in the girls and the boys. So that'll be interesting for Hoosier fans if they want to come out and watch. But again, this is all at Hamilton Southeastern, April 1st through the 4th. And it's a good event. I know, it comes after the high school season's over. High school season for IHSA gets over that Saturday, the 28th. So this is the following week. 36 players ranked by ESPN, 17 girls ranked by ESPN, 14 All-Americans playing this event. So it should be fun if you get out, get a chance to watch it. It's good basketball. Like I said, it'll be on ESPN, at least some of the ESPN networks, championship games as well. So wanted to share that. The Chipotle Nationals coming to HSC April 1st through the 4th. All right, our next guest, longtime friend of mine, Matt Denison, and he's host of the Hoosier Report. And he has me on every Friday. I'm turning the tables on him because normally he interviews me on WXVW, his radio station there, but I'm turning the tables and interviewing him today a little bit. So we're going to be at the same place, I would assume, in Newcastle on Saturday. I know you're planning to be there, Matt, of course, and cover New Albany. And I wanted to ask you about this New Albany team because, I think this second game at Newcastle is going to be a really good one. New Albany and Terre Haute North. Terre Haute North I've seen them play. They were actually in this round last year, and I had a chance to see them then. And then in Charlie Hughes, I watched them a couple times knowing they were going to be good again, and they have been. They've won 22 games in a row and playing really well right now. But how do you think, Matt, how does New Albany go into this game? I mean, I know they've played, their route to get here in the tournament hasn't been as strong, but on the other hand, they played a really good schedule this year. They came up here a few times and played in the Fishers tournament. I think we know Noah Washington around the state now is a really good player, but how does this New Albany team stack up, do you think?
I think they're right in the mix. I think a lot of people felt like they could get to the semi-state this year. I'm not sure a lot of people back in the summer or the preseason pegged them to get to the state championship game, but I think they have the talent to do so. Kyle, Newcastle should be fantastic. Some of these teams a lot more than I do, but I think specifically the New Albany Terre Haute North game has an opportunity to be one of the best games of the tournament so far. I really have said all week long, I think it's a toss-up. Two really well-coached teams. Terre Haute North has been in this position before and obviously back again. New Albany with a lot of young talent and some other seasoned players to mix with it. I think we're in for an exciting finish. But you're right. New Albany is playing well. They are rolling people right now, and they did play a tough schedule during the regular season. But in the postseason, just the way things worked out this year, Seymour was not an extremely tough sectional. Defending champion Jeffersonville lost an awful lot from last year. Floyd Central, I thought, would be a little better than they were. They had a couple key injuries. And so that sectional, for one that always is so well attended and often very competitive, it just wasn't itself this year, to be quite honest. And then, of course, when Castle won, that was a shock heard around the state. I think everybody was thinking it would be a New Albany, Evansville North likely regional matchup, which would have been very interesting. New Albany would have been a big favorite in that game as well, but I don't think anybody saw Castle coming out of the Pocket City the way that they did. So that's the one question mark, is New Albany really has not played a quality team with a solid or better record at this point of the postseason. And that's all going to change for the Bulldogs on Saturday with Terre Haute North. And if they're fortunate enough to get through that game, the night game is going to be equally as difficult.
Yeah, and the first game there will be Mount Vernon and Decatur Central. And we've talked about both those teams pretty heavily. Decatur Central probably the underdog of the four teams. Mount Vernon probably the slight favorite of the four coming in with Luke Ertl. And they have been here also last year, losing that Jeffersonville team that came back in the fourth quarter and really, I thought, wore down Mount Vernon a little bit down the stretch in that game. So that will be, you're not facing Trey Singleton and Michael Cooper and
Right.
PJ Douglas and that experience with New Albany here. But to get into New Albany's team a little bit, Matt, I mentioned Noah Washington. He's averaging 22 points a game, 39% from the 3-point line, 4.2 rebounds. And again, just a sophomore. What have you seen his progression look like this year for the Bulldogs?
There's no question Noah has really leveled up his game this season. He's a young player that I've had an opportunity to see really since his earliest days playing in the New Albany system. And you knew he had lots of talent. The question would be, the growth, not only of his game, but of his stature, his height as well. And he's getting to that point where he's really starting to stretch out. I think he's really stepped things up this season. He's done a lot of different things on a number of different levels offensively for New Albany, and clearly is one of the better players in the state, and I think the key player in Southern Indiana to follow as far as his recruiting goes. But it's been a great year for him. It's been interesting, freshman year, no matter who you are, varsity basketball in Southern Indiana and throughout our state is very difficult for a freshman. And Noah had some bumps, but he played well and generally had a really strong freshman year at New Albany. This year, he really has taken that to another level, and you can see not just his game and his talent all coming together out there, but you can see his confidence and even leadership coming through now, even though this is just his second varsity season. So Noah had a really good sectional week against lackluster competition, hit a lot of big shots, was just really playing well, playing with a lot of emotion. He did not score as many points on Saturday against Castle, but he did some other things to really help New Albany, and he was in double figures as well. He just is a very impactful player in so many different ways for New Albany. But it's been a sophomore year for him. And Kyle, everybody in our area, you think about Romeo and you think about some of the great Silver Creek players that have been through just in the last handful of years, really. And Noah has an opportunity to be right there with some of those guys. And it's been a great year. And I think obviously we'll see what happens this weekend and perhaps beyond. But it's going to be a very, very important spring for him. I know our focus today is the high school semi-state, but a very big spring, I think, ahead for him as far as his individual development and his recruiting as well.
Well, as we sit here talking, I'm thinking back to a game, and there was a sophomore at New Albany in 2016, and it was in the semi-state at Richmond at that time. And it was one of the most memorable games I have ever covered because Romeo Langford had 43 points at the end of the third quarter.
It was amazing.
It might have been one of the best individual performances I have ever seen. It was Rick Pitino was there. It felt like and I remember Jim Shannon coming in after the game, and they kind of had a setup where they sat at the table there, and him and Romeo were sitting there, and Jim was just kind of out of words. I mean, it was an incredible performance. And, so I'm not saying Noah's going to do that on Saturday, but just thinking back to that 10 years ago, kind of interesting.
Yeah, my perspective that day was a little different than the radio, but that was, I think, the best individual performance that I have ever seen. And of course, that was just a special day. The crowd, just what a time that was for basketball in our neck of the woods. But yeah, that was a unbelievable performance. And Noah is on the track to do some really special things in his career at New Albany. He's moving up the scoring list. He's setting some records as a freshman. And obviously you talk about Romeo and even Sean East, who I think should get a chance to crack the NBA soon with what he's doing in the G League out in Salt Lake. But, you hate to compare and contrast, but in a town like New Albany where basketball is king, and where we talk about this stuff all the time, and we talk about it every day on the radio, and not just New Albany, but this whole Southern Indiana area of basketball, where it is just simply the focal point of what we do. It's hard not to have some of those comparisons and contrast, and that's probably unfair to Noah. But he getting back to Noah, Kyle, he has done some exceptional things his sophomore year, and the future is really bright for him as an individual player. With what he's going to do in the future as far as recruiting goes, but it's also very bright for New Albany the next couple of years, regardless what the result is this weekend.
Yeah, and to that point, Carson Stoudemire, 12.8 points per game. This kid's just a freshman, and he doesn't play like a freshman. He's averaging 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and kind of to your point of good things coming. He's another reason why, but there are some other guys. I know you wanted to talk about Reese McKee as well. He's a junior who's also having a really nice run here, and he's averaging 9.9 points, 4.6 assists, which leads the team. He also leads the team in steals at 2.9 rebounds. And then TJ Washington, another player in double figures, 11.5. So it's not just the Noah Washington show, Matt. It's a lot of different guys who can hurt you in different ways.
Yeah, starting with Carson Stoudemire, unbelievable freshman season for him. There's nothing about him that really looks freshman. He's might be a little on the shorter side, but he is so tough, so strong, so physical. I don't know that I've ever seen in our area a freshman that can come in and rebound and body and be physical at the way he's been able to do so. I think so often you get a really talented freshman, but their body, their frame may not be ready for 4A basketball to go up against, some of the Indianapolis area schools. But Carson is the opposite of that. He is strong, he's tough, he's a leading rebounder for New Albany, and he just finds ways to get his hand on the ball. He has a great knack for the game as well, and you can just see him getting better in each opportunity. You can see his confidence grow as well. And I tell you what, Noah and Carson together is kind of a 1-2 tandem. Even his sophomore freshman tandem is just outstanding. And I know everybody buzzing what that combination could look like down the road. And then to go to Reese McKee, I had Reese on my radio show earlier this week. I knew he would probably be a starter for New Albany coming into the year. He's been much more than what I expected. His role has been much more, and maybe Coach Jones would say he knew all along that this was the type of season he would have. But just from an outside perspective, he's had a tremendous year, and I think that as he's gotten better, New Albany's gotten better. He does so much for New Albany. He handles the ball a lot. He's extremely quick. He can score at a couple different levels. He can get to the basket, and then he can play great defense as well. And so he has been just an exceptional lift for this New Albany team. It's not just Noah and Carson. There are other players as well. And I'd be remiss to not mention Seth Winslow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seth is a glue guy, I think is what we've called him on our broadcast and what other people might even refer to him in the community. He just gets his hands on a lot of balls. He's a rebounder. He does a lot of the unsung things. He can score some points. He's in double figures some for this team, but he has been a really, I think, a treasure for New Albany, as has McKee. And there are other players in the starting lineup and coming off the bench that help this New Albany team as well, Kyle.
Yeah, and Seth Winslow, 7.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and he has started almost every game this season. So definitely a big 60% from the field as well. I know a lot of his damage done inside, but yeah, that's very efficient. This whole team is really efficient. That's the one thing you look at with this team, and their overall shooting is really high. Their 3-point shooting is really good. It's a high efficiency team, which I think that usually bodes well in the tournament if you can defend. But it's not just about getting up and down and getting a bunch of shots up. It's about getting good shots. This New Albany team seems to do this. I'm really impressed with Jason Jones in his third year there as coach. And even that first year coming in, seeing him at the Charlie Hughes, I was impressed with what he was doing there. And with Noah coming in as a freshman, it felt like they kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention TJ Washington as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some big moments for New Albany here in the tournament. He'll be another key against a really quality team like Terre Haute North. But yeah, to Coach Jones's credit, he came into a New Albany program, again, with a great fan base. But with that great fan base comes great expectations. And this fan base that New Albany has, I mean, as you see them, how they turn out for regular season games and especially for postseason games, they're smart basketball fans. I mean, they keep up with this stuff at a very high level, and they knew that all this talent was coming through the system the last number of seasons. So he's been able to take that and run with it and get him in his system, get him in his organization, and find some great success here the last couple of years. He's off to a wonderful start. And obviously you add a couple weekends into the postseason, and that helps things. But New Albany is a fun team to watch. Coach Jones plays a very fun style of basketball. And, of course, he's able to do that with the athletes and the talent and the speed that he has right now.
75.2 points per game for New Albany. That's one of the highest in the state, regardless of class. So that's and I think it'll be somewhat of a contrast of styles because Terre Haute North doesn't, they do get up and down when they want to or can, but they're not they're not necessarily a run and gun style. So I would assume they would try to keep probably keep the pace a little bit slower. So that another fun contrast with the two teams there, and both teams coming from a pretty long way away, to play in Newcastle. That's a pretty good haul for both schools, but I assume both will show up and have a great crowd there. I wanted to ask you too, Matt, about just with Silver Creek making this run into 3A, I know you have a chance. They're down there in your area. They beat New Albany during the season, and they're just playing tremendous basketball. I got a chance to see them at the Hall of Fame. Probably their worst, really probably their worst 2-game stretch. The second half of the Northview game, they played really well, but I know they weren't real happy with how they played in the Crown Point game. A lot of turnovers in that game, and then really in the first half of that Northview game too. And then they kind of completely got it going, and basically ever since then they've been cooking. So they've kind of become the team we thought they would be. They've beaten Plainfield. I watched Plainfield's an excellent team. They beat them during the season. They beat some really good teams down the road. Like I said, beat New Albany, and just have kind of rolled through so far. You talk about teams that can score. They're really high up there as well. So what are your thoughts? I mean, can anybody beat Silver Creek in 3A, do you think?
I'm going to go on a limb and say no. I've been saying that really going back to our summer league last June. They are really good. And the program that Brandon Hoffman has built, I know he's had talent, but the program he's built, the way they do things at Silver Creek, the system he has in place, it's just amazing where that program has come, and so neat to see all the success that they've had. But the Silver Creek team, they're the clear favorite in my eyes. Of course, I'm a Southern Indiana promoter, right? So I've probably got that bias, but to me, in my eyes, they're the clear-cut favorite to win 3A. I do feel like that the Cathedral game, if it works out that way, if both Cathedral and Silver Creek advance at Seymour, that could be a great championship game. I had a chance to see Cathedral late in the year when they came down to New Albany, and I think there would be some good matchups there. And, of course, Coach Delaney has done an amazing job at Cathedral. So that, to me, is the one moment, the one speed hump maybe for this Silver Creek team that right now it has really been cruising. And Kyle, it's not just the studs, the key players that they have, it's how deep they are. I mean, they literally can go 7, 8, or even more deep, and there's no drop off. They have size in the starting five. They have size coming off the bench. They've got the perfect mix of shooters and guards. And for all of the talent they have, they get along well, and they share the basketball, and they cheer on each other in the games that I've seen. So they are a very dangerous team. I feel like they're one of the best teams in Indiana this season, regardless of class, and I think they're one of the better teams that we've seen come through far southern Indiana, Clark and Floyd counties, and rank right up there with some of the other great Silver Creek teams, the New Albany teams, and the Jeff State Championship team. I really believe that. I think this Silver Creek team is special.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if anybody, Cathedral will be the one team because they can score. They are right up there with the top teams, just a shade ahead of New Albany, even 77.3 points a game. Silver Creek probably would be maybe even higher, but some of their games have got out of hand, and they don't, you play running clock or you pull your starters out. So they're fifth in the state, but they could very well be even higher than that. That's that to me, that's kind of the game of the day. Could be that Silver Creek Cathedral game if it works out that way. They both have very good opponents ahead of them. That semi-state at Seymour is going to be great. Ron Colley's been playing really well coming into this one. I still think and they're dealing with a little bit of an injury situation too. That with Connor Kessler getting hurt in the last game, so that could be questionable for them losing him, but yeah, man, Silver Creek Cathedral would be quite a game, and looking forward to potentially seeing what happens there. But Matt, I know we're talking high school basketball, but you were able to get over and see Miami of Ohio play on Wednesday night and in the NCAA tournament. What a great story, and a lot of Indiana connections. I covered Peter Suter and Justin Kirby who play on that team, and man, I was unabashedly cheering for Miami of Ohio last night. So, and Travis Steele is a guy from Indiana too, and known him for a long time. So pretty awesome story, and I was glad to see them get that win last night.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it starts with Travis Steele, Indiana guy. I can remember years and years ago when I was a very young man, first getting into all this stuff. Travis was grinding on the AAU circuit, coaching teams and trying to find his way in the game of basketball. And to his credit, he's the same guy today that he was back then, just a very, very good, down-to-earth person. And the work ethic and all that he's done in basketball should be no surprise to anybody that he's built Miami into the program that he has and that they're having the success he has. He's a great young coach, and I'll be really, really curious as somebody that loves to see guys from our Hoosier state have success. I'll be really curious what his future in Division I basketball coaching looks like. But so fun last night. I've wanted to get to the first four, had an opportunity to, and with Miami there, I knew it would be a special environment. I love UD Arena. I've been there a lot over the years for different games, and it was really unique last night. And those Miami fans, they are living it up. They are enjoying this special season, and very happy for Coach Steele. And it's neat to see him do it, as you said, with a lot of local connections to our state on the team. And of course, I remember great New Albany Carmel battles with Peter Suter, and of course, awesome to see him have the success that he's had at the mid-major level of college basketball. So, and Miami of Ohio, they've got a guy coming from our area, from Southern Indiana next year, Anthony
right.
Fresh, that I know Coach Steele and his staff worked extremely hard to recruit and get a commitment from him. I'd call him a sleeper. I think people that have played against him know how athletic and how talented he is, but he's got a great opportunity, I think, to really contribute there at Miami of Ohio. So I think the future's bright for that program, but I'll be curious to see what it looks like for Coach Steele in the future.
I think there's going to be some options out there for him. And
Absolutely.
also, Christian Smith is one of his assistants. I covered him when he played at Pike probably 15 years ago. And I was worried he was going to get a technical foul because he was kind of like jumping up and coming on the court a little bit. I was like, man, Christian, calm down. But it was
well, we had great seats last night, but everybody stood. All of the Miami people stood. So I was trying to focus on the game, and I didn't see that instance. But I've been to a lot of games, college and high school, different levels, different places. That smaller arena, the first four field, the start of the March Madness last night, or the last couple nights, I guess. That was one of the more unique things that I have seen, and the crowd was just, man, they were juiced all night. So that was it was a late night, but it was a fun night. But Kyle, hopefully all that's just a good tune-up for what we get this week. We love our high school basketball first, to be able to have the opportunity to go to Seymour for sectional, Southridge Huntingburg Memorial Gymnasium for the regional round, and now to go to Newcastle and Chrysler Fieldhouse for the semi-state. There's nothing better than this great high school basketball. Semi-state Saturday, I think, has probably become both yours and I's favorite weekend of the tournament. That 2-game, 1-day situation. It's got a connection to the past. It's got a connection to the old style tournament. So just a wonderful day ahead, and hopefully that Miami win and that great environment there in Dayton on Wednesday was a warm-up for what's ahead.
Yeah, one of the best weekends of the basketball calendar for sure, with not only high school but college going on, and it's just basically you turn the TV on and it's just basketball all the time for like 4 days. So it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Matt. Hopefully we can. I'm sure we'll catch up there at Newcastle. Maybe between games we can go play a little pool.
There you go. Sounds good. I didn't know you. I knew you were a great writer. I never knew you were such a great pool player.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Matt. Again, Matt Denison, we'll see him on Saturday. New Albany plays in the second game. That'll be noon at against Terre Haute North at Newcastle. The first game, Mount Vernon and Decatur Central. The winners play at 8. So should be a great day of basketball. Thanks again, Matt.
All right. See you in Newcastle, Kyle. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, sir. All right, back here on Talkin' Hoops, and our next guest, excited to have on Noah Washington from New Albany. We just got done. Noah, we were just talking about your team with Matt Denison from the Hoosier Report, and now bringing you on. So you're out at you're having a community event, as we're talking here on Thursday night, and it sounds like you're getting some Dairy Queen, huh?
Yes, sir. Me and a couple of my buddies, we decided to come over here for March 19th. They said they're going to give us some free cones, so we came over here and we all got a free cone tonight.
Well, that's a heck of a deal. Heck of a deal for a team that's about to play in the semi-state on Saturday. And New Albany will be playing, like we talked about earlier, playing at Newcastle. And should be a great day of basketball. Terre Haute North will be the opponent for you guys, Mount Vernon and Decatur on the other side of that bracket. But Noah, what kind of what's this run been like for you? You guys have been on a pretty good streak here lately. Obviously, have been through a good tournament run here, beating Scottsburg, Bedford, Seymour, Castle, all pretty handily. So it's been a relatively smooth path for you guys in the tournament. But how's this run been for you?
I'd say it's been great because last year I got my season cut short in the championship, in the sectional championship, so I never got to go past that point. But this year, this team, just how together we are, even off the court, not even just on the court. I think that makes the whole difference in why we went so far and why we won regionals this year. And I'm just blessed to be a part of this team, and I'm excited to see how far we can go. But if yeah, just I'm just grateful that this team, like, that's the main thing. I think the reason we're winning is just because everybody on the team hangs out off the court. Like, it's not like we're just only when we're at practice we're talking to each other. It's like even tonight we're all hanging out before we see each other tomorrow at 9 a.m. for to leave to go up to Newcastle. I think that's the main reason on why this team's special.
And you guys have been through a lot of you played a lot of good teams this year. 22-5 coming into this game. Some of those losses came early. Lost to Plainfield early. Lawrence North in a really close game. Fishers in the Fishers tournament. So you guys lost some games early. Have been on a pretty good roll ever since then. What do you think? What have you learned, I guess, or what have you learned from those tougher games and maybe some of those losses that has helped you down the road?
I think just playing those tougher teams like Fisher, like you said, all 5 of our losses have been from very tough opponents, and I mean top opponents in the state that were predicted to win, the state championship. Some have been knocked off, but I mean, I think playing those teams and losing like that, and I mean some close ones, some's getting beat pretty bad, but I think all are learning experiences because when you lose close games, it kind of gives you kind of see what you need to do to it kind of helps for later in the season. Like when we played Bloomington North later in the season, we had a close matchup. But I think since we played all those good teams and we had those tough losses and close losses, that when we played later in the season, we got it done. And I think that's a great way to go into your postseason because when you play tough games like that and you win dog fights, I mean that's what it's going to be in the postseason, especially where we're at now, semi-state. So, I mean.
Well, again, here joined by Noah Washington, who's one of the top sophomores in the state, if not the top. 22 points a game, 4.2 rebounds on the season, shooting 39% from 3. All good numbers across the board. Noah, where do you feel like maybe your biggest improvement is from your freshman to sophomore year?
I would say I try to put the ball on the ground a lot more this year because last year I was in a tough position with a lot of seniors around me, 3 seniors and 1 junior. And I think that I kind of played my role very well as a freshman, especially for a team that had, like I said, 3 seniors, and I was more of like a guy that would catch and shoot, or I did a little bit more than that, but I played my role a lot last year. But this year I think I took a big step up in, you know, my game as in like taking control, like being able to dribble, take someone off the drive, get into the rim more for sure. I think that might have been the biggest part was getting to the rim. I didn't get to the rim nearly as much as I did last year because I just felt more comfortable shooting my jumper from the outside. But this year, I think I practiced and, in practice, I would go drive in, and that was a big emphasis playing off of 2, getting to the rim that I needed for this year. And I think that's helped me with my 22 points per game average.
And 54% shooting on the season, so the efficiency really high. 83% from the free throw line, so all the shooting numbers very efficient. Noah, I wanted to ask you too. I was talking to Matt Denison about some of your teammates and what they've done this year. Carson Stoudemire's come in 12.8 points a game as a freshman. His numbers really good across the board too. 5.5 rebounds per game. Seth Winslow. He plays a big role for you guys. I know he's an important interior player for you and rebounder. And TJ Washington, of course, he's had big games when I've seen him play. And then Reese McKee has been big, 9.9 points and 4.6 assists. All those guys really at different times, have been, and really all the time have been important pieces for you. But yeah, just your teammates in general, how good has this team been around you this year?
I'd say the stats say it themselves. I mean, like you said, I mean, if you go look at our whole team, like Carson to be a freshman like he is, and also not even just stats. Carson, the way he's built, it's just like you wouldn't expect him to be a freshman, no way. Like, and I think that's another reason that makes him special and allows him to get those rebounds because not a lot of people can take that bump from Carson when he's going to the lane. But also not just Carson, but the whole team. Even like if you go look at the stats, like I said earlier, like TJ shooting 44% or 40 something percent from the 3. which is elite, like better than me. And I like to say I'm a really good shooter, but he's shooting better than me from the field. So I'd have to say he's elite. And I mean, Reese is just our motor. I think Reese gets us going. He always is guarding, like, when you have to guard those full court press somebody, get in their stuff, like you know what I'm saying? Like make sure that they're dog tired, do the dirty work. That's Reese and Seth for sure. I think both those guys do a fantastic job of just dogging dudes out. And Seth does a fantastic job of getting those second chance points, getting rebounds. Whenever you think the possession's dead, you're just going to see Seth get a steal or something and uses long arms to pick stuff off. And back to Reese, like I said, 4.6 assists a game. That's what I mean. He's throwing it up the court. He's finding everybody open. Like I said, I mean, I think all of us together, I mean, we make a great group. Like we make a great young group, and we only have one senior. I think that's why this group is so special. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm averaging double digits. TJ's averaging double digits. Carson's averaging double digits, and Reese might as well be averaging double digits. So I mean, when you have four guys right there doing that, you that says it all. That's special.
Yeah, to your point, Reese is 9.9, so basically he's there.
Yeah,
Seth at 7.3, so he's been
he's
there.
all.
Yeah.
And I mean, into his offense, like Seth is a great scorer. Like but he's around so much. Like like he has so much talent. Like if he went to another school, he'd be scoring double digits. But he's just around so much talent, and that's why. But Seth is a great player, and the like amount of stuff he does that keep us in the game and just help us grow. Like when we're in the game, that just help us grow the lead. Like again, I can't even say, like he goes in there, gets a second chance points. He's always getting steals. When you think you can throw it over him, he's gonna get it. So it's just like I'm grateful to have all these guys on the team.
Noah, this obviously New Albany's a basketball town. Do you feel the community kind of behind you this week as you get ready to play this big game on Saturday?
Yes, sir. Of course. I mean, after tonight, we had a little get together, a pep rally with our school, and we had our fans there. We got to sign autographs. So I think we have some unfinished business, and I think the fans know that too, and they want us to get it done. So I'd feel bad to let them down. So, 100%.
Not to give away your game plan, but Terre Haute North, what concerns you, I guess, with them, or what do you see out of that team when you watch film and prepare for this game?
I'm not going to give you too much information, but I will tell you this: they're a great team, and I think it's going to be a great basketball game on Saturday. But the one thing I'm going to say that I think that they do is they shoot the ball very well. And I think that that's something that could definitely hurt us in tournament time. Anybody can get hot, especially when you have all guys that can shoot. So I'd say our defense definitely needs to take a big step up on that on Saturday. But I think all year round we've done a great job, defending, and I think that's one of our strengths, like pressuring the ball and getting up. And I think as long as we, don't come out slouched, like just don't, you can't let a dude get hot or have an easy one because everybody on their team can shoot. So I hope we just need to come out ready to play defense and have a good game, play our butts off.
No, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about your recruiting. I know with the portal stuff going on, and especially at your age, it's things have changed quite a bit. But I know you're being recruited. What's that situation look like right now?
Well, right now I'm very blessed. I'm in a very blessed situation, especially with the transfer portal. Like going back to my teammates, I know you just, but I'd say without the transfer portal, some of these guys would have at least D2 offers. Like Seth, like I think Seth, all Carson, obviously Carson's gonna get D1 offers. He's only a freshman, but Reese, all these dudes on the team, I think they'd be getting more offers if this transfer portal wasn't a thing. But I say I'm very blessed because to get all these opportunities with all the transfer portal rules. I mean, it's awesome. Like if I'm being honest, and I'm very grateful that I have got the chance to go up to all these different colleges and get to go on these visits, and all the experiences I've been on so far have just been honestly all you could ask for. Like as a kid my age, and you get to go, get to talk to the head coaches, you get to watch on March Madness, all your life growing up, you get to go talk to them. I mean, that's my dream. I mean, I bet that's most kids' dream. So I'm just happy that I'm in this position.
What schools have you been to during the season?
This season, I got to go to Kentucky, and I went to Purdue, and I went to Louisville this year. I also, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think in season. I know those three I went in season. In season. Indiana, I got to go up to an Indiana game. Luckily, that was awesome. All of them were awesome, dude. Like that's what I'm saying. All the experiences, all the schools, like all the games I went to, they were great games. Like like getting to watch that level of basketball anywhere, and then obviously on the visit you get really good seats. So it's like a dream. It's more than a dream come true for a kid my age and someone that loves basketball like me. So I'm just I think I named all the schools I got to go to, but if I missed any, I promise I had a fantastic time at that school too, and so excited. I'm so excited for the summer to get to go to more. Hopefully, for sure.
Awesome. What does your summer look like? Do you know what your plans are?
I know for sure. I haven't decided fully on my AAU team. Because I've been so busy with this postseason stuff. We were supposed to decide the week before sectionals, but we got caught up, and then obviously we luckily kept winning. So sadly, I haven't decided yet. But I definitely need to get to that 100%. That'll be the first thing I do, especially after this weekend. But for the summer, I'm hoping that I get to go to that USA tryout, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope I can make a name for myself there. But I bet I'll go to a few camps and different things like that, and I'm hoping to get my name out there a little more. I think that I could be higher on the rankings for sure, and I think that there's a lot of work that I need to put in this summer. That's what my summer is really going to look like. Is just work. I need to work my butt off, work on my body, and work on my handles because for the next level, if I can get my handles to elite and I'm the height I am, like if I get to play, I need to handle the ball. So if I get it to the point where my handles are elite and I go play the point guard position, that's when I really have a chance to be something special. So I think this summer's a big jump, and the main thing I need to do is just work my butt off 100%.
Well, good to hear from you, Noah. And how's your bracket looking so far?
Ooh, oh, it's done. It's done.
Really?
It's
Already?
done. Yeah, actually, High Point got me. High
High
Point
Point,
got
yeah.
me. High
Yeah.
Point got me today, and honestly, they deserve it. That was an amazing game, and 99 played amazing. That was crazy. That was absolutely insane. He shot it from the M on March Madness.
I thought Wisconsin actually played pretty well. I was like, man, that
Oh,
doesn't even feel. That felt like a
they
Sweet
did.
16 game.
They did. They played fantastic, and they had that. I can't remember what number 2
Yeah, tough.
lefty. Really
Yep.
tough. I mean, felt like. I mean, I thought he was going to get that last bucket at the end of the game, but it happens. It happens.
Yeah, man. It's yeah, mine's not looking too good either. The Big Ten lost a couple teams. Ohio State I had too, and Wisconsin. So I need to make a comeback here.
That's why it's like the chances of getting a perfect one are like 1 in 9.2 quadrillion or something.
That's right. Well, Noah Washington, not only a great player, he's very easy to talk to, as you can tell. And Noah, always enjoy visiting with you, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. You have a great night.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Sir.
Well, thanks again to Noah Washington there for hopping on with me at the end and joining me here. That was fun to catch up with him. He's a really good player. If you're at the game on Saturday at Newcastle, he's definitely a player to watch. Only a sophomore, he's only going to get better. Like we talked about with Matt Denison, he's improved a ton, and I think will be that whole team really got a chance to come back and I think have a really good showing even next year when you look ahead to what they bring back. So that's going to be fun to watch what they can do. And also all these teams really. Terre Haute North's got a team. They'll be coming coming for it because they were here last year. They were in this round last year. They kind of know what it's all about. They're more of a veteran team. I think that potentially going to be a really, really good game on Saturday, along with Mount Vernon Decatur. Decatur, of course, a little bit of an underdog. I think people may not have thought that they would be here, but they are, and I think they will try to push the tempo and really try to run with Mount Vernon on Saturday. So that'll be fun to watch as well. But again, thanks to everybody for coming on here and joining me. Can't wait for the sectional I keep saying sectional semi-state round of on Saturday. great games everywhere, really all over the state. So it's going to be a fun day of basketball. We'll have all the coverage, IndyStar.com. You can check out the predictions on Friday. Actually, they're out now if you're watching this. So you can check those out, and of course all the coverage on Saturday. So thanks again to all the guests for joining me here on Talkin' Hoops, and we will talk to you next time.